Okie dokie. Let's see here. So starting the recording. Is everything good? Okay. The let's see here. All right. So at this point, we've got only part I and part C done. And um usually do these in order of complexity. I mean, we have so far with part I being the first one, but the I think it'll be easier if we just go through them in order. And since I'm doing walkthroughs on all of them, it should be fine. If you are watching the walkthrough, like the point of the walkthrough or the recording, the YouTube video, is so that you can pause it while you're going through it. All right. And like I said, you can join the meeting, the Zoom meeting through the link in the only announcement, and you'll be fine. Okay. And I've immediately changed my mind. We are going to do these in order of complexity because there are a few things that we need to you need to see first before we can do the more complex ones. Okay, so let's do part D here for this recording. And part D, we could do this a couple ways. The way we've done it so far is to make a box the maximum dimension in all three dimensions, which in this case would be 4 tall, 2, 3, 2, 7 wide, and 6 deep. Okay, that's one way of doing it. And starting with a block and then cutting out like this area and cutting out this area. That's one way to do it. I think for this one, it makes more sense to just do this in 2 additive steps, meaning make one block that is this bottom size, which is 2 in the front and 7 wide and 6 deep. So we make a block like this. And then once we have that sort of flat block, make a couple of these size squares and extrude them up. And because these are the same distance extrusion, we can do them in the same move. So we can do the same thing in 2 moves, or do the entire thing in 2 moves. Okay, so as always, we're going to start a new sketch over here. If you have the button, or drop down below, the button is whatever it says, so we can click on that. And as per usual, we'll start on the XY plane. That will keep our front being front. Okay, and hopefully your grid lines popped up. If your grid lines didn't pop up, it means you need to go back and change the settings. The grid lines are really just a convenience to know whether or not you're in sketch mode. The one that really matters is the auto project edges for sketch creation and edit. That's the main one. Okay, so from where we are here, we are drawing on the front of everything. So let's make a rectangle that's 2 tall and 7 wide. And then we will extrude it 6 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 deep. So a rectangle, snap to 0, 0, just to anchor it somewhere. And dimension tool, and dimension the width first, or the height. First click there, second click there. And our height was 2. And you don't have to zoom out. I still can see this line. Click once there, click again to set it, and this is supposed to be 7. And we can zoom out with either the scroll wheel or the home key. Let's finish sketch to get back into part mode. And once we are there, we can extrude. There's only one thing to extrude. It knows what we want to extrude. And the depth we want to extrude it is 6. 2 tall, 7 wide, 6 deep. And again, for these simple shapes, it doesn't matter if you go forward or backwards or halfway in between from the sketch plane. It's all the same. Okay, so this is our base. This is our base. And so we need to add these little parts that bump up. And let me see if I can make it look the same as the other one. Okay, so we have, let's do this. We need to draw a rectangle on this top surface, the top face. We need to make one that is 2 wide and 3 technically deep, because it's depth dimension. And that's going to be in this corner, 3 this way and 2 this way. We're going to put a rectangle there in our sketch, snapping it to this corner. Then in this, before we extrude, before we hit finish sketch, we are going to make another rectangle here, the same size. And once we have both of those, we can finish sketch and extrude them both at the same time, extrude them up 2. Okay, so it's 2 wide, 3 deep, extruded 2 up. Okay, so new sketch and sketch on the top plane. And I think I pointed this out before, but you can see over here in the view cube, top is written sideways, vertically. The more logical or natural way, I think, of looking at shapes is anytime you can see a word, rotate it so you can read the word. Okay, because here top looks like is this, and this isn't a square, it's 7 wide and 6 deep, so it does matter. Okay, and so let's look at it from top, and I need a rectangle. First rectangle, I'm going to snap to this top left corner. Technically, it's the back left corner. But either way, we'll make a rectangle that size, and hopefully that's showing up on the recording. And so I need to dimension this, and just like before, I'm going to dimension this to 3 front to back, and the width here is going to be 2 side to side. And before I hit, you can see where I'm sketching now, 3 by 2. Before I hit finish sketch, I'm going to make the other rectangle. Get a rectangle tool, snap this to the top right corner, and you can see, I don't know if you can see on the projected view, but on my screen and the recording, you'll be able to see it. The cursor sort of snaps to green when you get to the corner, like the little dot inside of your pointer snaps to green. Okay, that's going to be your first click, and your second click somewhere down in this area. And there we go. And let's dimension. And we'll dimension this again to 3 by 2. Okay, we have both our rectangles. Let's finish sketch. And it should pop you back to the isometric view. Now, here's an important thing. This area over here is called the browser bar. You need to have it open. If you don't have it open, you need to open it. Do that sort of thing. Okay, so we have 2 rectangles. Oh, like I was saying, the browser bar is this table over here, this window. And I'm pretty sure I pointed this out before, but the order is always make a sketch, then extrude it, make another sketch and extrude it. You should never have 2 unconsumed sketches. You see here I have extrusion 1, then I have sketch 2 and sketch 3. There should never be 2 sketches. It's make a sketch, extrude it, make a sketch, extrude it, that sort of thing. Okay, so we're going to extrude this and this, and we only want to extrude it a height of 2. And you'll see over here, we are extruding on sketch 2. When I actually do the extrusion, this sketch 2 will be consumed by extrusion 2. There we go. Okay, you can see it right there. There is extrusion 2, and this is part D. So go ahead and save it. Save it with a consistent naming convention like part D or part space D. Okay, that will be a lot useful in the future because we aren't making subfolders in documents, you'll be able to alphabetize them. And giving a common, consistent naming convention will make it easier. Okay, so when you go to save, okay, so there's a save button, which is a little floppy disk, which most of you have probably never held or were aware of. You can always just go to File and Save, and make sure it's in Documents. It should be the default. Just call it Part D. All right. And let's keep going. I think we can probably do another one pretty quickly. Let's do part G. Okay. G offers some challenges. And the way I'm going to do G is, again, all additive, meaning we're just going to make a sketch, extrude it, to create material and just continuously create material. There's no cutting required. And the method or the path I'm going to do for this is the first thing I'm going to make is this sort of right arm. I know it's on the left shape, but for me, this looks like those pillows, those giant pillows with the arms. I don't know if anybody has those anymore, but we have the sort of this one arm over here is one part. This tall center part is another. And then the third part is the other arm, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm going to draw this one first. And on the front plane, I'm going to make a rectangle that's 3 tall and 2 wide, and then extrude it all the way back, which I think we can infer is a mirror of this one. So it's extrusion of 5 deep, even though we can only see 1, 2, 3. We can only see 4, but I don't think it ends short. So like I said, rectangle, 3 wide, 2 tall, extruded 5 to start. So let's start a 2D sketch on the XY plane. Rectangle, anchor to 0, 0 if you like. Snap it up here somewhere. Dimension, the height. Remember, don't click on the snap unless you mean to. In this case, we only want the length of this line. So we want a height of 3. And again, here, a width of 2. There's our rectangle. We're going to finish sketch and extrude. There's only one thing to extrude. It knows what it is, and this is going to be 5. Okay, and this is that one arm. It's 3 tall and 2 wide, extruded 5. Okay, so here we've got, this is just the right side, or left, again, technically. It's just this part here. Now, to draw the top part, this is the face we have to sketch on. So I'm going to make a rectangle that is essentially this shape, because if I make it this shape, I can extrude it this way, and it will make the center vertical part. So what is the shape of this sketch, or the dimensions, I should say? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tall, and 4 this way. Okay, this distance is 4. And then, wait, no, 3, excuse me. This distance is 3, and we're going to extrude it to the right, a distance of 4. Okay, so what is it again? 6 tall and 3 wide, but 6 tall and 3 wide snapped to the back. So let's start a sketch on this plane, and we're going to make a rectangle. I'll make the rectangle, then I'll show you where it is. If you are not keeping track of sort of the orientation, that's fine. Okay, so we are looking at the right side, and in the bottom right of the screen, which is really the back right, that's fine. First click there, second click above everything, somewhere in here. If you snap it to the line, it won't let you change the dimension. Okay, so we want it somewhere like that. And hopefully you can see where we are sketching. We're sort of sketching on the side of it. And we want the dimension this way is sort of the front to back, which is 3. And this way is 6. And let's finish sketch. And let's extrude. And we want to extrude both things. Because there's a line going through, it doesn't know if we want to extrude this, or this, or both things. Just don't overclick, because if you overclick, it's hard to unclick. You would need to just hit cancel and extrude again. You want this one and this one, but we're only extruding it 4. And there is the center part. And the last part is another one of the other one, just like the other one, but we don't really have I mean, we can sketch on the back technically and extrude it forward, but I think let's continue sketching the side. So this is the same as the other shape, except we're going to draw it 3 tall and 5 to the front. Okay, and then extrude it 2, and it will make the same shape. Okay, so start a sketch on the right side of everything. And you can see we're looking at the right side again. We need a rectangle. Again, snap to the bottom right of this sketch plane. And you can get like a quick, if we did project geometry, we could get it to snap and we wouldn't have to dimension it, but this isn't that hard. So we'll just make it a little bit bigger so it's out of the way. And then we can dimension, oops, that's the wrong space. Dimension the width of this, once again, to 5. And the height to 3. Finish sketch, extrude, choose this, and extrude it 2. Okay, and there you go, part G. And let's save that one. It should go to my documents, call it part G or part space G. Whatever you've been doing is fine. And how many is that? We've got 2 from before, 2 today. Let's do 2 more today. And we got ICD, shoot. ICD G. What's up? What's that? For G, there's 3 rectangles. Everything, there's this one right here. Where is it the last one? The third. Okay. So all of these, the second extrusion, you sketch on the right side like that and extrude this rectangle and this rectangle. So it extrudes out that way. And then the last one, same thing. You're sketching on the right of that. Okay. And when we finish the meeting, or the instruction, the replay will be up shortly. Okay. I think we can do, let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do A and B next. And then that way the first 6 will be A through D, G and I, just to make it complicated. All right, so let's do part A and then part B. We definitely need a new part file. Remember, you're clicking on the little drop down there. Okay, so did I make a new part? I did not. All right, so again, starting a new part from that tiny drop down in between to get the default part file. And like I said, let's go ahead and do part A. And part A is a little trickier because there are these dimensions here. This is 1.5. If you look closely at the grids, it's 1 to there and then a half. So we're going to do, there's some, intentional dimensioning there. And our general path is going to be we'll do the full block if, that the whole thing could fit in the maximum dimension in all 3 dimensions, which would be a block this size. And then there will be 3 different cuts. One is making it an L shape, cutting across. Then on the top of that L, we're going to make this rectangle that is actually sort of floating front to back, extrude that down. And then the last one is going to be make this rectangle here that's 1 by 3 with an offset and extrude it over. Okay, so this one's going to offer a few different dimensioning challenges or dimensioning requirements, but again, if you just watch where I click, you'll be fine. And listening helps. Okay, so let's start a sketch. We'll start it on the XY plane. And let's get a rectangle that snaps to, anchors to the center, and just make it like that big. And let's go and see, let's see some dimensions. Okay, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deep. 5 tall and 8 wide rectangle, extruded 5. Let's go back here, dimension this to 5 tall, and this to 8 wide, and finish sketch, and extrude. We want to extrude it 5. Okay, the first subtractive method or subtractive move, we're going to make a rectangle that is this, and we'll go like this. Hold on, let's look at this better. All right. Okay. So the first sketch we're going to make is a rectangle that's like this big, the shape that we want to cut out. And then we're going to cut extrude it across. That's going to be this. Now, we can figure out this dimension, which is 6, and this dimension that is 3, and make a 6 by 3 rectangle here and cut it across. But what we're actually going to do is dimension the remainder. Whatever size our rectangle is, it doesn't matter so long as 2 inches are left this way and 2 are left this way. So that's going to be 3-click dimensioning. First step, of course, is start a sketch on the front face. And then a rectangle that snaps to the top left corner, excuse me, top right corner. And now we need to dimension it. Like I said before, we could just dimension this and set it to whatever, but that's not what we're going to do. We are going to do dimensioning that requires 3 clicks. Thank you. And the 3 clicks are going to be, 1 click is going to be on this line. The second click is going to be on this line. And the third click is either going to be in between or out of the way. And that needs to be 2. And you'll notice here, down here, it says 1 dimension needed. And that's because this line is still not constrained. We want it to be fully constrained. You'll see that in a second. And for this one, the distance from here to the bottom is also 2. First click here, second click there, third click out of the way. And there you go, that's 2. You can see down here in the corner, it says fully constrained. What's up? I'm showing you. Instead of making the size of the rectangle, we are dimensioning the size of the remainder, which is the same thing in this case. So with the dimension tool, first click is on this line. Second click is on the side of everything, like the side of your main shape. And the third click is in between. Just in the middle here is fine. Yep. Set that to 2. No, not yet. Try this again one more time. I'll try to zoom in. Okay. First click is on this line. Second click is on the side of everything. And third click is in the middle, because you're dimensioning the distance between this line and that line. Do you see it again? Do you need to see it again? Just watch the whole thing instead of step by step. Okay, we have a rectangle that's undimensioned. And so the first click is on the side of the rectangle. Second click is on the side of everything. You can see how it turns red there when I get exactly on the edge. And third click is in the middle. Set that to 2. Welcome to the meeting. People joining meeting. And did you get it? Looks like you got it. And then the other one is the same. First click is on the line. second click is on the bottom of everything, and third click is in between. Set it to 2. Okay, looks like you've got it, and that means you can show it to her. And I don't know anyone's name yet. Okay, so we have the shape that's going to cut out our L, and we have, yeah, it's an L. And so we need to finish sketch, extrude, choose the part we want to cut, switch it to cut. And technically for this one, 5 is fine. But if you do want to cut all, you probably want to do through all, because that will be persistent if you change the size of the first part. But any number that is big enough to to get rid of everything is fine. And then hit OK. All right, so we've got our L shape. We have 2 cutouts to make. The next one we're going to do is this shape right here. So we're going to put a sketch on this surface and then draw this rectangle, which we're going to do the same thing again of dimensioning the remainder. Like how far, instead of dimensioning the size of the rectangle, we're dimensioning how far the lines of the rectangle are from the side of the shape. Okay, so start a 2D sketch, click on this surface. If you want to keep mine the same as yours, keep yours the same as mine, so that you can read the word. And we need a rectangle that snaps to this right side, but make sure, you can see how it sort of will snap or click to the side. Make sure you aren't snapping to the corner or to the exact center point, because it won't let you change it. Okay, so first click here, second click roughly in the middle. And you can see where we are sketching at this point. Oh, that's weird. Why would that ever be an option? Okay, and how big is the rectangle? First of all, if you don't have auto project edges for sketch creation and edit, that one setting I told you to change, it's the thing we just did probably didn't work. You probably weren't able to do the L shape that I made because it required snapping to things, but that's fine. All right, so we are, for this one, going to dimension essentially the location of the sides of the rectangle rather than their lengths. And let's do one to start. We know that this edge, so this is our rectangle that we're drawing here. We know this edge right here is 2 away. Okay, so this edge is 2 away from this edge. That's the location of this. And the other sides, this side right here, which is this side of our rectangle, is 1.5 from this edge. So we're going to have to do that also. And I think if we do that, no, we will. We will still need to do the same thing over here, 1.5 this way. Okay, so looking at the top, let's get the dimension tool. First click is going to be on this side of our rectangle, and the second click is going to be on this edge right here, which should have lit up. And when we, again, why does it do that? So maybe this helps, seeing that it's the distance from the side of the rectangle and okay, back to this. So this dimension right here is 2. We know it's 2 from the side, or 2 from this edge right here. Thinking about changing the colors. I don't think they pop enough. Hold on. Let's do tools. Application options. I know I said copy mine, but there's something different about the colors from this version. I definitely don't want to do the generic, which is light, I think, or whatever comes in to start, because it's a good trick to know when the settings have changed. Maybe deep blue? Let's try to see what that is. I'm not totally convinced. I really just want these numbers to be bigger. Okay. I'm going to undo that so that it looks the same. I don't think that's much of an improvement. Okay. All right. So we've got this one dimension from the side here. Now with the dimension tool again, we're going to click on this line and then this line, the edge of everything, set that to 1.5. And you know it's not fully constrained because it says one dimension needed. And also this line is green, which means it's not locked down, which is what we need to do. We need to do this same dimension over here on this side. The distance from the side to the back of the rectangle to the back of everything is also 1.5. And it says fully constrained. We'll finish sketch, extrude, choose our rectangle, switch it to cut, and through all. Hit OK. Okay, that is the third feature. Okay, over here on the left, you should have extrusion 1, extrusion 2, and extrusion 3. We've gone through it straightforward. We sketch, extrude, sketch, extrude, sketch, extrude, all the sketches being consumed. That's what you want it to look like. And the last part feature is the notch up at the top, which, again, like anything that's three-dimensional, you can do it at least a couple different ways. We could put the sketch on top and cut extrude it down 1. But the way I'm going to show it, and I think it's actually easier because we get one more snap for free, is make a rectangle that's 1x3. But you'll see when we make a 1x3 rectangle, it's not going to be fully constrained because it is going to be floating on the top. It's not going to have a snap. We're going to have to dimension the distance from the side in order to lock it in. But you will see. If that was confusing, you're normal. And so we need a new sketch, and we're going to sketch on this face of our part. It'll snap to, should show it to us. Rectangle tool, snap to the top edge, but again, not the center point or the corner, just that soft snap on the edge of the face. And we want a rectangle. We know the rectangle is 1x3. We can go ahead and do that. 1 tall and 3 wide. And again, it still says 1 dimension needed, and that is because we haven't said where we want this rectangle. The rectangle is constrained, but its location is not. You always need size and location. If you snap to corner, there's your location issue, but we don't have a corner. We need to tell it where to be. And the place we want it to be is the distance from this side of the rectangle to the side of everything. Click in between, that needs to be 1. Okay, which is this distance right here. We drew this rectangle 1x3 on the top, on this top edge, and then we had to make it 1 from the side. Okay, and we're fully constrained. Finish sketch, extrude of this rectangle part here. Okay, well, you're sketching on the side. I would say hit undo so that you're not you can, so you have something over here. You probably have like sketch 4 or sketch 3 or something right here, right? You can right click delete that extra sketch. Oh no, you didn't undo. You did undo. That's fine. Make your sketch on this face. So you need to look at it from like a corner. So yeah, that's that face right there. Yeah. And then the rectangle is 1x3, 1 tall, 3 wide, but then you have to make it 1 from the side. All right, let's wrap this up, and then I'll come around and do more individual help. Let's extrude. Okay, so we have our rectangle fully constrained. We did finish sketch, extrude, choose the rectangle we just made, switch it to cut, and do through all. Hit OK. And there you go. Please put the food away forever. And so there's part A. Save. And in my documents, part A or part space A or whatever. Okay, we're gonna do one more, and then we're gonna get everybody caught up. The depth of that extrusion is all. Yeah, switch it to cut. Yeah, that technically works also. Okay, so the last one we're gonna do today is part B, which is a little complicated because there's a couple half-inch dimensions, or dimensions that aren't integers. Okay, so this part right here is 2.5 tall, and so is this. But the width is only 2, which it's weird that it goes in between isometric grid lines, but because it starts there and ends there, it's still 2. So this area right here is 2.5 tall and 2 wide. This one also is 1 by, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. We are going to, like I said, new part. And the sort of path we're going to do is start with a chunk, the maximum dimension in all 3 dimensions, and then cut away what we don't want. The dimensions here, this is 2.5 and 2.5. So it's 5 tall. Its width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's no way that's 7. It's 2, 4, and 2. So it's 8 wide, 5 tall, and its depth is also 5, which is actually the dimension of the other one. So we're going to make a sketch on the XY plane, make a rectangle that snaps here and goes up. Dimension, height is 5, width is 8. Finish sketch and extrude. What did I say? 5. Okay. Okay, so there's our main chunk, and we can actually do all 3, this part, cut back, this part, cut back, and this part, cut back, all in the same extrusion. Looks like an angry face. And we can do that because the extrusion is the same for all of them. Obviously, the shapes are different, and there's actually going to be 3 different rectangles, but we'll do it all at once. I think it might not be easier. We'll see. So we'll start a sketch on the front face because that's the face we want to cut away from. Let's get a rectangle. The first rectangle, it snaps to the top left corner. Make it about that big, and its dimensions are 2.5 tall and 2 wide. And the same thing over here. Snap to the top right corner now. Dimension 2.5 tall and 2 wide. What's up? That's 2 inches wide, 2.5 tall. So that is what that looks like. Okay, so those are our top 2 cutaways. And we could do finish sketching, cut extrude that, but like I said, I might as well do it in one move. The bottom part, it's just like the notch on the last one where we made a rectangle that was a given size, but then we had to dimension its location, its distance from the side. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to make a rectangle that's 1 tall and it's 6 wide. So 1 by 6, but then we need to tell it that we want it to have an offset of 1. So let's make a rectangle. Again, we're still in sketch 2. Snap to the bottom edge somewhere that looks about right. Make sure it's not the corner. Make sure it's not the exact center point. Just somewhere on the bottom edge. first click, second click somewhere over here, again, like that. And the size of this rectangle, it is 6 wide, and it is 1 tall. And you can see it says 1 dimension needed. If I were to finish the dimensioning, you can see it still floats around even though the size of the rectangle is locked. Its location isn't. We need the dimension tool. First click on the side of the rectangle that we want. The second click on the side of the block. Third click in between, set that to 1. We're fully constrained. All the lines are black or dark blue or whatever color that is. And then we can finish sketch. And when you're in sketch mode, you should always be looking at it from a 3-dimensional view. Excuse me, when you're in part mode, you should be in a 3-dimensional view. When you are in sketch mode, you should be looking at it straight on, because sketching is a 2-dimensional operation. And the reason why in part mode you want to be 3D is because we want to extrude these 3 things. But if you're looking at it straight on, you can't tell if it's coming towards you, going away from you, a cut, or a join. So we're going to switch it to cut, and it knows to flip the direction. So look at this. If you choose the things you want to cut, then switch direction, it might switch to cut. Sometimes it will, like if you do cut, then switch direction first. If somehow you're trying to cut out in space and there's nothing there, it should give us an issue. Yeah, so nothing can happen. So all you need to do when you go to extrude, don't mess with this until you've chosen the things you want to extrude. And if you accidentally choose like more than you want to extrude, just hit cancel and try again. We want to extrude this, this, and this, but we don't want to create material. We want to cut material. And again, 5 is far enough, but through all is the best practices. And hit OK. And there you go. There are the ones we did today. Let's do view range. There we go. All right. So I'll finish the video and post.